Good morning, ladies. Happy Tuesday. I hope this message finds you well. It is Tuesday. It is early. Rise on up. It is the start of another day. Dang. I thought I was going to be able to stay awake, but I didn't. It looks like I passed out probably with 6 minutes on the clock in fourth quarter during the Bucks and Chiefs game. And boy, was it a nail biter. You know, I was expecting Bucks to fully get blown out. Not gonna lie, Kansas City Chiefs, they're a good team. They have good players, and right now we're out. My Bucks we're down with Godwin. We don't have Evans. We don't have quite a few other people, so it was gonna be a touch and go. But the rest of the players, man, they showed up, and it was one heck of a game. But all good, all good. Fair is fair. But now it is time. If you haven't voted, go vote. And yeah, Ezra is what we'll be hopping on. Chapters, let's see, 5 and 6 is what we'll be going over. Yes, 5 and 6 today. And yeah, verse 1 goes like this. Then the prophet Haggai and Zechariah, the son of Iddo, prophets, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, who was over them. So Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, rose up and began to build the house of God, which is in Jerusalem. And the prophets of God were with them, helping them. At the same time, Tattenai, the governor of the region beyond the river, and Shetharabanzai and their companions came to them and spoke thus to them, "Who has commanded you to build this temple and finish this wall?" Then accordingly we told them the names of the men who were constructing this building. But by the eye of their God was upon the elders of the Jews, so that they could not make them cease till a report could go to Darius. Then a written answer was returned concerning this matter. This is a copy of the letter that Tattenai sent. The governor of the region beyond the river, and Shethar-Boznai and his companions, the Persians who were in the region beyond the river, to Darius the king. Verse 7, they sent a letter to him in which was written as such. To Darius the king, all peace. Let it be known to the king that we went into the province of Judea to the temple of the great God, which is being built with heavy stones and timbers being laid in the walls, and this work goes on diligently and prospers in their hand. Then we asked those elders and spoke thus to them, "Who commanded you to build this temple and to finish these walls?" We also asked them for their names to inform you, that we might write the names of the men who were chief among them. And thus they returned us an answer, saying, "We are the servants of God of heaven and earth, and we are rebuilding the temple that was built many years ago, which a great king of Israel built and completed. But because our fathers provoked the God of heaven to wrath, he gave them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, the Chaldean, who destroyed this temple and carried the people away to Babylon. However, in the first year of Cyrus, king of Babylon, King Cyrus issued a decree to build this house of God. Also the gold and silver articles of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar had taken from the temple that was in Jerusalem and carried into the temple of Babylon. Those King Cyrus, took from the temple of Babylon, and they were given to one named Sheshbazzar, whom he had made governor. Verse 15, and he said to him, "Take these articles, go, carry them to the temple site that is in Jerusalem, and let the house of God be rebuilt on its former site." Then the same Sheshbazzar came and laid the foundation of the house of God, which is in Jerusalem. But from that time, even now until now, it has been under construction, and it is not finished. Now therefore, if it seems good to the king, let a search be made in the king's treasure house, which is there in Babylon, whether it is so that a decree was issued by King Cyrus to build this house of God at Jerusalem, and let the king send us his pleasure concerning this matter. We're now in chapter 6, verse 1. Then King Darius issued a decree, and a search was made in the archives where the treasures were stored in Babylon. And Achmetha, in the palace that is the province of Media, a scroll was found, and in it a record was written thus. Verse 3. In the first year of King Cyrus issued a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem. Let the house be rebuilt, the place where they offered sacrifices, and let the foundations of it be firmly laid. Its height 60 cubits and its width 60 cubits. with 3 rows of heavy stones and 1 row of new timber. Let the expenses be paid from the king's treasury. Also let the gold and silver articles of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took from the temple which is in Jerusalem and brought to Babylon, be restored and taken back into the temple which is in Jerusalem, each to its place, and deposit them in the house of God. Now therefore Tattenai, governor of the region beyond the river, and Shethar-Boznai, and your companions, the Persians who are beyond the river, keep yourself far from there. Let the work of this house of God alone. Let the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews build this house of God on its site. Verse 8, moreover, I issue a decree as to what you shall do for the elders of these Jews, for the building of this house of God. Let the cost be paid at the king's expense from taxes on the region beyond the river. This is to be given immediately to these men, so that they are not hindered. And whatever they need, young bulls, rams, and lambs for the burnt offerings of the God of heaven, wheat, salt, wine, and oil, according to the request of the priests who are in Jerusalem, let it be given them day by day without fail, that they may offer sacrifices of sweet aroma to the God of heaven and pray for the life of the king and his sons. Also I issue a decree that whoever alters this edict, let a timber be pulled from his house and erected, and let him be hanged on it, and let his house be made a refuse heap because of this. And may the God who causes his name to dwell there destroy any king or people who put their hand to alter it, or destroy this house of God which is in Jerusalem. I, Darius, issue a decree. Let it be done diligently. Verse 13, then Tattenai, governor of the region beyond the river, Shethar-Boznai, and their companions diligently did according to what King Darius had sent. So the elders of the Jews built, and they prospered through the prophesying of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo. And they built and finished it, according to the commandment of the God of Israel, and according to the command of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. Now the temple was finished on the 3rd day of the month of Adar, which was in the 6th year of the reign of King Darius. Verse 16, then the children of Israel, the priests and the Levites, and the rest of the descendants of the captivity, celebrated the dedication of this house of God with joy. And they offered sacrifice at the dedication of this house of God, 100 bulls, 200 rams, 400 lambs, and as a sin offering for all Israel, 12 male goats, according to the number of the tribes of Israel. They assigned the priests to their divisions and the Levites to their divisions over the service of God in Jerusalem, as it is written in the book of Moses. And the descendants of the captivity kept the Passover on the 14th day of the 1st month. For the priests and the Levites had purified themselves, all of them were ritually clean. And they slaughtered the Passover lambs for all the descendants of the captivity, for their brethren, the priests, and for themselves. And the children of Israel who had returned from captivity ate together with all who had separated themselves from the filth of the nations of the land in order to seek the Lord God of Israel. Lastly, verse 22, and they kept the feast of unleavened bread 7 days with joy, for the Lord made them joyful and turned the heart of the king of Assyria toward them, to strengthen their hand in the work of the house of God, the God of Israel. Now some emphasis in chapter 6, verse 16 through 22. They separated from the pagans of the land specifically. The prerequisite for seeking God was to separate from ungodly people. As worshippers of a holy God, the Jews were to be holy too, which would be impossible if they participated in the practices of the surrounding heathen nations. Such practices included child sacrifice, fortune-telling, consulting of mediums, and witchcrafts, also referenced in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 through 14. The Jews who did not choose to separate themselves were given no place in this exclusive community. Unfortunately, the faithful spirit exhibited here failed to endure. As you can see, even within Ezra, with current practices today, including child sacrifice, child sacrifice meaning as in abortion, child sacrifice as in we're allowing them to slaughter their parts because they feel like they want to be someone that they were never created to be, which instead of just talking and helping them through, we're just allowing them to, take full wheel, fortune telling, psychics, brujeria cards, the people that read. I'm telling you, been there, done. I'm telling you, been there, done that for all of this, all right? There's no good of that. You eventually reap what you sow. It comes back for everyone, okay? If you want to call it karma, you want to call it conviction, you want to call it whatever it is, you reap what you sow. So remember that. And it's never too late to dig in and dive for yourself and let the Lord speak to you and how you feel and how it makes you feel. And ask for questions. Ask questions, and trust me, He will give you answers. It's not going to be some godly voice, I'm sure, because I don't, hear some dude voice, but I know with song, with thought, with prayer and worship music on and things like that, he'll figure out a way to say something to you in His own way, and you'll know. We have a lot of praying to do for our land, regardless of anything, because ultimately, whoever becomes president at the end of the day, Jesus is still king. He knew this was going to come, and if whatever it is, just buckle up and ride out whatever the case may be. But I just pray for peace. I pray for unity. I pray for bondage to be broken, for the veil on society's eyes and the crisis we're in. I just pray that we hopefully see a better future. So that is all for today. Don't know I needed to hear that, but let's have a blessed and amazing day, all right? It's day 2 of our November, being thankful and being grateful, all right? If you'd like some prayer, or if you would like to chat or discuss anything, hop on over to Instagram and Facebook, where I post daily, but it's always a pleasure. I hope you have an amazing day. Talk to you soon.